Are you a depressed college student? I hope not. If you are, stay tuned, and if you're not, stay tuned anyway and learn a little bit more about how the adjustment of network size is impacted by depression levels. My name is Kyle Barrentine, and I am a rising senior studying psychology at North Carolina A&T State University. This summer, I was granted the wonderful opportunity to work with Dr. David Aiken, a sociologist here at the University of Notre Dame. Larger networks are typically associated with decreased depressive symptoms, and while people with depression tend to have smaller networks. However, based off of our research from last summer, we believe that overextending your network based on your personality, so introversion or extroversion, we believe that this could lead to increased levels of depression if you overexceed this capacity. Over time, the dynamic effect, we believe that if people overexceed their capacity, that depression could cause people to have smaller, more manageable networks. We proposed 4 hypotheses. One being that people with too large of a network than expected, given their extroversion level, would have higher levels of depression. For our second hypothesis, we believe that among those with too large of a network at time 1, that they would have increased depressive symptoms and lower levels of network size. For our third hypothesis, among those people with a too large of a network at time 1, we also believe that as depression level decreases, that their network size change also decreases, thus leading to a more manageable network via depression. And for our fourth and final hypothesis, we believe that as the proportion of depressed people in their network increase, the depression level also increase. In order to answer these questions, we utilize data from the NetHealth study, which is a longitudinal study that assesses behavioral and network data within a sample of Notre Dame undergraduates. For this study, spring of the first year was coded as time 1, and spring of the second year was coded as time 2. A total of 440 students were utilized for this. We utilized 4 different variables within this study. CESD, which is the Center for Epidemiological Studies on Depression, which assesses how depressed you are on a scale of 0 to 52, higher scores indicating greater levels of depression. We also used extroversion, which is a facet of the Big 5 personality index. Higher scores here indicate greater levels of extroversion, and while lower scores indicate greater levels of introversion. We also utilized network size. Network size is the amount of people that a person has communicated with within the study. And lastly, we utilized residuals, which, as stated earlier, is the expected network size given the extroversion level. In order to support our hypothesis, we generated 4 different models. The first 2 models are in support of the first hypothesis, which suggests that as individuals deviate from their expected level of network size, they will get more depressed. This is shown by the positive and significant effect of the residuals. This effect is prominent in both time 1 and time 2 and becomes stronger within time 2. In addition, our fourth hypothesis, that the proportion of depression, here coded as P-depressed, would cause greater depression symptoms is also supported. This is shown by a positive significant effect on P-depressed, which becomes stronger over time. Moving on to the dynamic portion of the model, Model 3 is in support of the second hypothesis, that individuals with too large of a network, given their extroversion level, would experience an increase in their network size and decreases within their depression levels. This is evident by the negative significant coefficient on depression in time 1. Model 4 illustrates the effect of network adjustment. As networks decrease over time between time 1 and time 2, individuals are less depressed between time 1 and time 2, meaning that these individuals or these participants had smaller, more manageable network sizes over time. Depression acts as an equilibrating mechanism that leads people to have smaller networks that they can manage, given their level of extroversion. Because the proportion of depressed people in a network increases depression, future research needs to look at how the proportion of depressed people increases or decreases when a network size gets smaller. In addition to this, future research would also use different modeling methods like structural equation modeling or Bayesian modeling in order to understand this effect of network adjustment among people with too large of a network.